Hello everybody, welcome to the Buyer Beware series, a series on this channel where we look at upcoming games and we critique them or praise them in some cases. Today we're going to be looking at the network test of Code Vein that I was invited to. This game is an upcoming action RPG developed by Bandai Namco and it's looking to replace the Dark Souls series. Will this anime-fueled, big personality-driven game manage to trump Dark Souls? Well, let's find out. You begin the network test and you're thrown into a tutorial that's filled with bad anime English dub. But I'm not really well versed with anime, so this could be the norm for anime, I don't know. In the tutorial, you're force-fed a bunch of information regarding the game, which I know I'm not going to remember, but that just might be the nature of a network test. I think for the sake of the network test, they're just trying to fill you with as much information as possible so you can actually play and understand roughly what's going on. But before the tutorial, there's actually a really in-depth character customization, so much so you can give your little anime waifu a tail? I'm not really sure what the target audience of this video game is, but I don't think it's me. But that aside, the character customization is surprisingly in-depth, and honestly, it might be the best part of this game so far. You can give your character a bunch of accessories, hairstyles, clothes, but none of that really matters when you get into the game because you'll be wearing different clothes anyway. So if you want to make your anime waifu a skinny person with a big personality, then by all means go ahead. There's going to be a lot of boob jokes this video, I'm sorry. Well, the biggest question is probably, is this game a Souls-like? And to put it bluntly, yes, in all aspects. It's literally the Souls formula. Bonfires, same combat style, leveling, all the old tropes we'd expect from a Souls game. But how does the combat actually perform? Well, I would say it's more akin to Dark Souls 1. It can be clunky at times, but there's just a weird non-feedback response that the game seems to have. When killing enemies, they'll do the same death animation. After being knocked to the ground and die, they'll even stand up and then proceed to do the death animation. It just seems a little bit weird and unfinished. This game has booby jiggle physics and they can't give us ragdolls. Come on, game! But the combat doesn't necessarily feel very satisfying. I'm just swinging at things until their health bar drops. There's no real feedback on the weapons, much like Bloodborne or Dark Souls 3, and it's a really big shame. Because we know an integral part of the Souls-like games are the combat. That is its core, that's its bread and butter. And Code Vein unfortunately just has an unresponsive combat system that just feels unsatisfying. That's not to take away of how cool the art style actually is. As someone who isn't well versed in anime, I was actually really surprised at how awesome the clothing and the armor and the weapons actually looked and performed. As you can see from this enemy, the cool blood swing that it does, it just felt so cool. And actually, the biggest reason why I wanted to continue this game was to go out and find new weapons and new equipment to use, just because they look so cool. The parry system and the cool abilities that you can get in the game, although confusing, they all looked really visually awesome. Unfortunately, it throws you into this quite long animation each time you parry or backstab, and although cool at first, it does interrupt the flow of gameplay a little bit too much. It's visual eye candy, but for the purpose of gameplay, it's a little bit too slow in my opinion. But for the purpose of the art style, it's not the best looking game, but it does exactly what it wants to. The vampiric tints of red really fit aesthetically into the world of Code Vein. And it's actually a fun game to explore, even though some areas in the network test were a little bit samey, but that just might be the nature of the network test. It's only a small portion of the game. But art style wise, it's actually a really fun experience to go around and see what awesome things you can find. Story-wise, unfortunately, the game just didn't quite capture me. I'm not sure if it was the bad anime dub, and when I say bad anime dub, I don't want to take away from the performance of the English voice actors too much, I just think it's a universe that I'm not really well kin to. Apparently anime is not for everyone, different strokes for different folks, I guess. But the long-winded cutscenes and the interruption of gameplay just made me frustrated. I just wanted to go out and find new stuff and kill new things. I didn't really care too much for the story. But according to my Twitch viewers, the team who wrote this aren't really known for engaging story writing, so maybe that's the reason why, I'm not particularly sure. All I know is the story didn't quite grasp me, and I just wanted to go around and kill things. And with the overabundance of large breasts on the female characters, and listen, I like breasts, okay? But when everybody's trying to do a Guinevere cosplay, I just couldn't take it seriously. One really cool game mechanic is the dungeon crawling aspect of the game. Much like the Chalice dungeons in Bloodborne, which yes I am a fan of, fight me. In the main story in Code Vein, you can go around and find these maps, and then you can bring them home to your hub system, and then go explore dungeons that reward you with good loot and cool looking boss fights. I actually love dungeon crawling in games, so this was right up my alley, and when I get the game, yes I am going to get the game, I'm looking forward to the dungeon crawling aspect the most, I think. And with the co-op system that the game includes, yes, there is a co-op system and the game kind of really wants you to play it co-op. Even so much so, in my press email, they offered me another code so I would play it co-op. I didn't, but there's that. You can dungeon crawl with friends, and that sounds pretty fun, honestly. Unfortunately, right now there is no PvP, so it's just purely co-op, which is a little disappointing. I think ever since the fall in popularity of Dark Souls 3, I am kind of craving a Souls-like PvP experience, but I just don't want to play Dark Souls PvP anymore, because after 2,000 hours of Dark Souls PvP, it kind of sucks. Overall, my experience with the Code Vein network test was a little bit disappointing. I've been waiting for this game for 2 years ever since the original trailer, and the combat system really was a big red flag for me. I just wasn't having fun with the game. I was having somewhat fun trying to find new weapons and equipment to see what cool special abilities they have. Other than that, that was really the only driving force that kept me playing the game, which is unfortunate. I still think that I am not the intended audience for this game. Although I am a Souls fan, I'm not particularly an anime fan, and the two gel pretty well together in my opinion, so if you are a fan of anime and a fan of Souls, this will be right up your alley for sure. But for those who aren't well versed in anime, you'll find some of the music choices cringy, some of the dialogue very cringy as well, and it might not be for you, but that's fine, because we're not the target audience. And for those who are the target audience, I really do think you're gonna have a good time with Code Vein. I've been Paragon. Take care, everybody.